Hello, and welcome to Empowerment Radio, the podcast for empowerment coaching. I'm Adrienne Elise. The title of today's podcast is called Bigger, Deeper Trust. And I wanted to talk about how sensitive people, empaths, indigo souls, crystals, have a sense of sometimes they can feel into the future and into the past. They feel the pain of other people. And they have a tendency to feel responsible for the pain that they feel on the planet and in other people or the collective consciousness. And it appears that more awareness that a person has, the more they have a desire to help. And this also translates that the greater awareness a person has, perhaps the greatest karma they have in a feeling of responsibility to other souls from past experiences that they feel like they owe. Sensitive people tend to think they have to fix the world's problems because they feel the pain. So just because you can feel it doesn't mean that it's up to you to take it away. But it's hard. It's very hard for sensitives, for empaths, for indigos, for crystal souls to just let the timelines unfold without feeling like they want to help. They have a huge ability to feel the pain and struggle and trauma of other people and the collective. And that is what it is. But that does not mean that they're then responsible for that pain. In fact, every human soul has chosen its own way to learn. And we have to respect. And in a non-judgmental way, understand that we wouldn't want to take, if someone is learning through pain, we wouldn't want to take that away, because how would they then learn what they're trying to learn? But this is one of the trickiest things for empathic, indigo, intuitive souls, because they feel like they need to interfere. And part of this is because that when indigos, these type of souls, are not in a body in this realm, they are doing that kind of stuff. They're working with timelines and supporting people in a way that we would think of an angel. But right here, right now, as a human soul spirit, on each of us on our own trajectory of destiny, experience of expanding our consciousness, we all have our own path. Not that we can't help when that is the consciousness moves that experience to happen. But it can be very uncomfortable for these type of souls sometimes to allow a bigger, deeper trust in what's happening. Now, part of the issue here is that, on a whole, humanity has been programmed from past life experiences and past evolutions on planet Earth with fear, with catastrophe, with war, tragedy, poverty. And so these types of programming from the controllers on the planet keep us attached to the psychological mind, which is the past and the future, stuck in waiting for the next trauma. There is a ton of programming in past lives and through our evolution that keeps humans from feeling safe. And the program is that this is an unsafe world. Just horrible things. Just wait for the next thing. It'll come. Bad weather. There's plenty of things to fear out there. But the thing about this is this programmed fear and entrained trauma. So this is what happens is this gets in our DNA. And I'm sure you've had a sense of this where, you know a story, if say your family goes back to the Great Depression, or maybe it goes back to the Holocaust, any kind of experience that the collective and also the bloodlines have had, this experience gets passed on through the DNA. And this is like this, okay, just like this is not safe here, and you got to wait for the next tragedy, and it's ready to happen. And so indigo souls are incredibly sensitive to this type of imprint and in the collective. And it can be hard to have that greater trust to just let things flow and not feel like it's up to them to do something about it, to fix the world. It's like, well, who gave you that job? Because cosmic consciousness is already on the task. We just are getting in the way of letting it happen. See, the thing about this programmed fear is that it entrained trauma. It convinces the human psyche that it's not safe, that it's stuck, keeps it stuck in the past. It reliving the last trauma and waiting for the next trauma. Now, we can really see this in the energetic field. It affects the root chakra, which is at the base of the spine. So go ahead and just pay attention to the base of the spine. And we talk about all these entrained and programmed fears through heredity and societal conditioning and past life programming. And it can keep us from really connecting into the earth. We kind of jump out of our body. And so go ahead and just pay attention to that base of your spine and imagine that you're putting a root system down to connect in with Mother Earth. And just receive an energetic wave right here, right now to reprogram that root chakra and release any ancestral programs, past life programs, societal conditioning that says it's not safe to be on the planet. Right here, right now. And just feel yourself, your whole lower part of your body, just release and relax and come into communication with Mother Earth. We can reprogram these programs. But the thing is that Lightworker came in to, with this deep desire, this karma, wanting to bring people out of struggle and pain and trauma. And when you come to the planet with that type of agenda, it gets you into trouble, apparently, because there's forces, it feels like forces are working against this. And this is true. There's control energies that have been directly working against our spiritual evolution for thousands of years too long. And so, this is part of the issue that happens is that, okay, I'm sensitive to the pain. I feel like I'm responsible for the pain. I want to fix the pain. So at least I can feel better here on the planet. And yet, we don't get to take away anybody else's pain. So the deal with this entrenched fear and waiting for the next trauma and this programming that's in our DNA, it's in our field, it's in our Akashic record, our past lives, this is convenient to the control energies on the planet, because when we are stuck in the past, in the future, and we're in fear, fear is the most powerful weapon they have, not as powerful as the consciousness that is who we are, but we'll get into that. But with this fear, say you're stuck in fear, you've been traumatized, you haven't had the healing support to get over it, you're stuck in this place. This is when the control energies can take over and control. This is what allows the control energies to control. And it's kind of like, oh, poor little human, are you scared? Have you gone through some trauma that we caused? Because we're just trying to keep you programmed and small so we can continue to feed on you and prevent you from your spiritual evolution. Oh, poor little human, you can't protect yourself, We'll protect you. Don't you worry. We'll protect you for a cost. So these control energies use this trauma as a way to get us to give over our power, our soul, our true soul consciousness power. So let's just take a minute, and if you would like to, and you are ready to break all contractual arrangements that keep you from this soul power that you may have given away through fear programming. What if your connection and your embodiment and your expansion of pure, true consciousness of the universe, that the force that creates all things is like what we're all made out of, and we have direct access to this in our body, and yet we've given it away. Said, well, we feel scared, so if you can make us feel safe, and humans have given their soul away. If you want to take back your soul right now, get it out of the box, go ahead and receive this energetic wave and release, set this intention. I want to break all contracts to where I've given my soul power away, because I know deep inside of myself the truth that my pure consciousness is stronger than fear. It is a more powerful, potent vibration. It's the truth of everything. The thing is that the power of consciousness is the most powerful, the best and only protection. So just take a minute to feel those contracts releasing and just imagine the loving arms of the universe coming up around you. And let this love of the universe surround you, comfort you, and remind you energetically, just allow an adjustment in your energetic field into this loving trust. And in this place, this outside of this manifested reality is just consciousness. So, fear can't live there. It doesn't exist. Fear is a construct in our psychological mind. The power of consciousness, the power of our soul power of consciousness, when we know that's who and what we are, it's more powerful and the best and only protection. So in this place of the cosmic love that surrounds all that's happening in this narrow reality, whatever happens is in your bigger plan. What is happening to show you your bigger, deeper connection, your bigger, deeper consciousness, showing you are consciousness. So what's happening is an opportunity to learn, to teach you about your own power, so you can take it back, so you can remember, so that this fear programming and being controlled through entrained trauma can never happen again. So, it's pretty convenient that these forces, the control energies, they don't really want us to know about this, right? Like everything in this world works against humans having this one simple thing of bigger, deeper trust. What's the problem? Is this illegal? They don't want us to know that this power of consciousness, this is who we are and what we're made of, and what we were before we were in this reality and what we will be after we leave is here as well. They don't want us to know, they don't want us to have this power, this connection to this power within us, because it's its own protection. And then you have no fear. Fear is a constructed thought, a concept in our psychological reality, the psychological mind, groupthink. And when you have and you know and you remember that trust in the power of consciousness, of the power of your own soul, your spiritual will, then you are protected. Well, no wonder they want to keep us from this bigger, deeper trust. Because if we don't have this trust, we're much easier to control. Right? So the controllers, of course, are going to want to keep us from this simple but profound realization of this bigger, deeper trust. So the fact that the forces are working against it so much, I mean, you can see it everywhere, all aspects of our life right now. It's so obvious the way we're being controlled and through fear. Events that are created and planned by our own State Department, wars, funding terrorism by our own government, or the energies that control our government, to keep us in fear, to keep us controllable, to keep us giving away our soul power. So just go ahead and set that intention that it's time for you to take this back. This is your birthright. This is who you are by definition. And the fact that they want, so many forces in the universe trying to interfere with this connection to trust, it proves the power of this trust in this greater consciousness. It is how we break free from the matrix. The matrix is held together by fear, and that we don't have any way to protect ourselves. And yet our energetic field, when we have true consciousness in our heart, the power of who we really are, protects us against anything and everything. The power of trust in consciousness, in the bigger, wider existence that encircles all of the manifested world, is also you. Outside of this realm, that's all there is. In this pure consciousness, pure love. It's what we are when we're not in a body. And yet we so easily forget. And we let the fear take us over. And we give away our soul power. But if we can be where we're at in the present moment and claim that consciousness, being in this place of understanding that our energetic field, our heart's consciousness, our intelligent selves of our heart, our higher knowing, who we are as humans, embodied in humans as consciousness, cosmic consciousness, in a physical body, embodied consciousness, that consciousness is the truth of who we are, and it's our own protection. Then we can really understand that the energy of fear is a completely contrived experience. And that it's simply a fact of our universe to keep us controlled so that we give our power away. And yet it's more potent and more powerful than any force out there in the universe. And it's not something we have to earn or find or search or seek or study. It was there before we were here. We just don't remember. It's right there inside of us at all times. And so from this place of knowing that you are consciousness and knowing the true power of consciousness, the way we use this power and this consciousness, the way we enact it, with the way we move it in the world is through our spiritual will. Our soul power comes from this trust and faith in the bigger picture, in the truth of who and what we really are, in claiming this truth and releasing all resonant frequency with the lower vibrations of fear and trauma, just evolving beyond it and trusting that everything that happens is happening to show us who we really are more and more as God consciousness. And if we can get out of the way, we can let this God consciousness work through us in these most magnificent ways. That's not us helping and fixing and trying to make everything better for everybody, but allowing people to have the experiences they need. Not being the healing or trying to make the healing happen, but being the force of healing. Just existing in that force of healing. Without the karmic contracts of I got to go fix the world. It's up to me. I have to do something to make it happen. Just this karmic trap that the indigo and crystals and sensitive souls get stuck into. But coming back to this place of consciousness and to this beautiful, powerful experience that has an intelligence beyond what we can imagine, that is us, but that our psychological mind is kind of just a very small manifestation of this way bigger, more powerful, beautiful, expanding experience. And can we trust that consciousness is bringing the balance where the balance is ready to come, as we can allow, as we can get out of the way, as we can kind of step back from our ego and let this beautiful love consciousness just move through us in our life. So we're not out there trying or fixing these problems or judging these problems, judging people's pain or experience, because that's really what we're doing. If their soul spirit needs that painful experience because they're not done learning through pain, then who are we to take it from them? Stop playing God and be God. Step back and let consciousness live in an expression that you allow. And it feels at first like you're giving away total control and losing who you are. But actually you're finding who you are. You can rest in this deep trust of the cosmic consciousness has this handled. And you get to be along for this ride. And sometimes it feels like it hurts. Sometimes there's fear and pain and trauma. But that's only so that you can learn and grow and evolve beyond the vibration of fear and trauma so that it never happens again. That things that happen have a completely different view on them, a completely different perspective. And you come into this trust that everything that happens is about bringing you back to love, bringing us back to love, bringing us face to face with the power that we have as souls when we allow consciousness to move our life. We get out of the way with our agenda and let the cosmic consciousness of the love, the truth, to move through us and to be consciousness and be the healing and exist in the fixing without feeling responsible karmically or trying. And so sometimes it's hard because you'll feel the pain of this world. You're sensitive, you're going to feel the collective pain, you're going to feel your neighbor's pain, and it's hard because you just want to know how, you just say, gosh, how can I help this? And how you can help this is to remember, claim back that soul power, claim back that bigger, deeper trust in love, the power of the consciousness. It's its own harmonizer. It's its own consciousness. We don't have to go take the pain away. Cosmic consciousness wants to do that when we can get out of the way. And we can allow this bigger, deeper trust. Bigger, as in like the cosmos way out there. Like just remembering that there's so much more outside of this narrow reality. This is just like one little tiny sliver of, the whole spectrum. And that's all we get to really have consciousness of right now, but we've experienced so much more. And we know deep inside of us that there's a big energy of glue that's keeping the planets on their path and holding together this amazing, beautiful experience. And we think we need to fix that as our small little human self of what we're doing here. And I guess that's the message here, is that it's fixing itself when we can get out of the way, stop feeling so responsible, and start feeling the love. And so we have the bigger part of this trust, which is the cosmic consciousness that's out and around everything that's manifested and the source of everything that's manifested and has this beautiful divine plan experience. And we don't have to know or get to know or need to know in order to enjoy it and be a part of it and be present and show up where consciousness wants us to use our beautiful gifts. And deeper trust, because where this consciousness out there is really found is inside of us. Like if you go deep, deep inside in your heart, where your heartbeat creates a vortex, an energetic field around you at the center of that. This is a vortex, a heart vortex, energetic. And if you go deep enough in there, you're going to end up out in space. So the bigger, deeper trust is the trust that lives within us at all times, and we've just forgotten. And so now we can remind ourselves. We can step back from trying to fix it and be present in consciousness with what's happening. Allow. Get out of resistance and fear and trauma and be in love. Be in bigger, deeper trust. Well, thank you so much for joining me for today's podcast on Empowerment Radio, the podcast for empowerment coaching. Empowerment coaching is here to help you feel that amazing feeling of being on your true path and using your gifts in this world. I'm Adrienne Elise. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, namaste.